All right, question for you. When is the last time you checked your home's crawl space? Did you know that it should be checked at least once per year? Well, crawl spaces are the topic of today's discussion with Ace Waterproofing and Basement Solutions. Adam Ellis is the owner of Ace and is here to help answer our questions, and he's joined by Chris DeVore, who is an expert in this service. Gentlemen, thank you both for taking the time to be here today.
Appreciate you having us.
So I'm going to be honest. I had the wrong idea about crawl spaces as I asked Adam when he came in. So let's define a crawl space.
So a crawl space is generally defined as anything under 7 feet, generally with a dirt floor.
Okay.
So you can have an 8-foot basement with a dirt floor, and we would still call that like a dirt floor basement.
Okay.
But generally anything that's under about 7 feet would be considered a crawl space.
Okay, and usually these are average between 1 and 4 feet in height. So definitely somewhere where you'll have to get down and crawl. So what kind of issues can come up in these crawl spaces that you need an expert in to help manage it?
So an open earth crawl space there's lots of different issues that can come up with an open earth crawl space. Essentially, your home is open to just basically a dirt floor.
Right.
So you have radon gases that can come up, moisture that comes through that soil, which is generally the cause of mold, wood rot, weak and bouncy floors. So there's lots of things that can happen in a crawl space. It's just really depending on where the house is, what the water table is, all really contribute to the kind of problems that the crawl space will have.
So how would you know that you have a problem in a crawl space? What signs should people be looking for in their home?
Bouncy, saggy floors is a big one. Okay. If you leave the house for a weekend and you come back and you smell like kind of a stale, musty smell, generally that means that the gases are coming up through the floor. They're getting caught in your carpet and your furnishings, and you smell that because there's no air exchange.
Sure. Okay.
So generally that's where people will call us, and if you see if you have a crawl space, not everybody has a crawl space, but if you have a crawl space and you experience lots of insects and spiders and things, that's generally an indication that you have issues with your crawl space.
And we're looking at some of the before and after pictures of when you guys get in there and help kind of clean up that crawl space as well. So pretty impressive work that you guys can do. So how do we alleviate these gases building up?
So we do, it's called an encapsulation. So isolating the home from the earth is what we need to do, and we need to seal all the outside air off. Old crawl space thinking was you want to have airflow in that crawl space. So there was vents that were originally installed. The problem with that is that Mother Nature doesn't cooperate, and so in the summer you're allowing hot, humid air to come in, and when you have a temperature differentiation between your building materials and the air that's circulating, condensation and moisture will then form on that, causing lots of different issues, mold and bouncy floors. The other thing in the winter, those vents will allow cold air in. Well, your heating ducts for the main floor generally run in the crawl space. Well, now your HVAC system has to work harder in order to continue to warm the space on that main floor, because all of the ducts are now exposed to that colder air that's coming in the winter.
So this is all kind of connected to one another, and really, I mean, this is a science.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a science if you look at it. So, we mentioned that you should get this checked at least once per year. Is there a time where maybe we need to get it checked a little more often?
Really, it's if you're maintaining your crawl space, if you look in there and you see standing water, you smell, different sort of odd smells that you're not used to smelling in the house, your floors are cold in the winter, those are all things that we generally get calls for that people want us to address.
Okay.
Another big thing is a high presence of insects, rodents. They like humid, damp, dark spaces. So that is another major telltale sign that you'd benefit from an encapsulation.
Okay, so not necessarily, bugs and rodents in your basement or crawl space area, but even around your house?
If they're in there, they're going to find their way into any space you don't want them.
All right, so that would be, a sign to get Ace out there and kind of get an inspection done. So speaking of the inspections, you guys do these for free, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if you call in, go to our website, Google us, set up an appointment. We'll send out a certified foundation specialist. We'll come out and do a free inspection for you.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about encapsulation, because some people might get that confused with insulation. It doesn't necessarily keep the heat in, right?
Right. So there's a couple of different misnomers. So encapsulation is where you're actually sealing everything off, sealing the doors, the vents, and then actually taping and sealing all the seams. There's a vapor barrier, which is some people will kind of they'll misgeneralize a vapor
Yeah.
barrier as an encapsulation, which is basically just a loose laid material on the floor. So some people will look in their crawl space and say, I have an encapsulation.
Yeah.
But really what they have is like a see-through 6 mil plastic that a contractor just laid down. Well, when your seams aren't sealed, those gases and that moisture can still make it up and affect your building materials and, again, create all those other things. Insulation is more of what we would consider a thermal barrier. Encapsulation is more of a vapor barrier. So when you're talking about insulation and encapsulation, we do all of that. So if somebody has cold floors and things like that, we will encapsulate, which will create that vapor barrier. And then by adding insulation, we now create a thermal barrier.
And this is why you need the experts to check on this stuff for you. I'm learning a lot today. So, you know, say someone's watching at home right now, they're just maybe paranoid. Will you come check things out, even if there's no concern?
Absolutely.
Okay. So all you have to do is just contact ACE at acewbs.com. And to call for a free estimate, you can dial the number on your screen. That's 563-449-2678. And of course, you can go to the ACE website to get a look at all the services that they provide and follow along. And you know, hopefully, if you have a crawl space, I don't know if. Does everyone have a crawl space?
Nope, it varies.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think I do, because I've been in every inch of my house, and I don't think
a lot of these issues can arise in basements, and we'd be more than happy to come and take a look there as well.
All right, Adam and Chris, thank you both for joining us today.